Hi there, welcome to Cooking with Saucy Shawn's Fine Eats. I am Saucy Shawn and I'm here to cook with you today. Or are you here to cook with me? I can never figure that out. Anyways, it is, well, the day we release this is March the 14th. And you know what that is? Do you? It's Pie Day! That's right, Pie Day, P-I. 3.14, so March 14th, 314. Pi is the, if you take a circle and you take the diameter and you multiply it times 3.14, it'll give you the circumference. What happened years ago is that mathematicians had to figure out how big a pi was, and so they figured out that that relationship between the diameter and the circumference, it was all about pi. Had nothing to do with math whatsoever. It's just made for pi. So, now that I've got my attempt at humor out of the way, what we're going to do here is we're going to try and make a pie crust. I'm actually going to make enough pie crust here to do 2 double crust pies. So, a double crust pie is a pie we've got a crust on the bottom and a crust on the top. Hence, double crust. Why am I making it for 2 double crusts? Because today, after this video, we're going to make a bumbleberry pie, and then we're going to make a meat pie, and both of them need a double crust. So, we're going to get started right away. This recipe will soon, not today, but soon be on my webpage. It's not there right now because we're just sorting the webpage out. This is what's called an oil pie crust. It's actually, the original recipe came from Betty Crocker from a really old cookbook. I don't know, like back in the 60s I think this cookbook was out. And it uses like canola oil or salad oil or vegetable oil or olive oil if you want, grapeseed oil, whatever. It uses oil instead of lard or shortening. My preferred way to make pies has always been with lard because I can actually make it work. I've tried doing it with Crisco, and it fails every time. Last time it got so frustrating that I finally went, you know what, Carmen told me about this oil pie crust that she uses, and I went, nah. And she told me about it, she told me how great it was, and that's what she used for catering, and I go, yeah, I get it. But I just never wanted to make pies for catering because it's too much work. And then I tried making them the oil pie crust, and guess what? It was really easy. Now, I've only done it twice. This will be my 3rd time, so let's see what happens. So what I've got here is I have got, how much flour do I have here? I've got 3.5 cups of flour. That's just going into a bowl, like so. I've got a cup of oil, which goes into the bowl. I'm just using canola oil that I bought at Costco. And then I've got 2 teaspoons of salt. I'm using sea salt because I've just been using a lot of sea salt lately. And I'm just going to mix this up. La-di-da-di-da. So it turns out that there's actually more than one pie day a year. I didn't realize this. I knew there was another one, which I never understood. And that is July 22nd, I believe. It's Pie Approximation Day. Because if you do the math, I guess 7 divided by 22 or 22 divided by 7 gives you something in the 3.14 neighborhood. But also, there is March the 4th, which is also a pie day. And that's because you are 3.14 months into the year on March the 4th. So really, there's at least 3 times a year when you can have an excuse to make pie and not feel guilty about it. So we mix this up until it's kind of pebbly like so. And then we need to add somewhere between 6 and 8 tablespoons of water. 8 tablespoons equals about ½ a cup. And you want to mix it a tablespoon at a time, according to the recipe, until the mixture is about right. So I'm going to add a bit, stir it up some more. Add a bit more. Stir it up some more. You can see it's starting to take on a bit more consistency here of it's starting to stick together a bit more. You want to use cold water, by the way. Not warm, not hot, but cold, because it'll help everything come together. Look at that, dumping stuff. Gets to about this stage, and I just say enough of the spoon, and get the hand in there and just squish it all up really good. You can see I can clean the sides of the bowl with it. Oh man, my ability to pronounce some words is horrible. Gonna add a bit more water. It's not quite sticking together well enough. One thing about pastry is it's really picky. You don't want to get too much moisture. You don't want to get too little moisture. You've got to get it just right. And you don't want to work it too much. You don't want to overwork it because then it won't stick together for you. But there we go. That's going to stick together now. So as I said, I'm dividing this into 4 balls. 1, 2, scrape that up. 3, 4. Now each of these should be enough for a about 8 to 9 inch pie crust, top or bottom. So I'm just going to set them aside. You can let them cool for a few minutes if you have time. We're going to put them aside. I'm going to rinse my hands off because now they're full of flour and gunk. And what we want to do is get some wax paper. I tried doing this with parchment paper. No. Use wax paper. The only thing I don't like about wax paper is it tends to be small. There's not a lot of depth to it. So I kind of have to live with it. Get your rolling pin. I use this French rolling pin. I really like it. It's just easy to use. If you're used to one with 2 handles, you'll hate it until you get used to it. But we're going to put that dough between the 2 sheets of wax paper, and we're going to start rolling it out here. Try and keep it together as much as you can. Get it rolled out till it's about 1/8 of an inch thick. Try and keep it circular. This one's being a real bother for me, so I'll take and add a little bit more over here. I grab one of my pie plates. We'll take this one. And I'm going to kind of put it around and go, no, I still need to go bigger. You see that's not going to fit because it's got to be bigger so it can slide in there and fill in the holes. Oh, it's really thick up here. There we go. Okay. Let's see if we can make that fit now. Take that, hopefully not fold it up like that. Take it and flip it into my pie pan, unfold it gently, go shucky darn, it doesn't quite fit, but you know what, there's ways we can fix that. So remember, this is cooking with Saucy Shawn. This is making things work when it doesn't actually come out just exactly how you want it. So I'm going to grab some cold water. Oh, that was warm. We don't want warm, we want cold. Grab a bit of cold water. I'm going to tear off some of this over here where it's hanging over too much. Take a little piece of that, get it wet, and stick it into place there. There we go. That fix that up. Get this one wet. And we're going to stick it into place over here, like so. fill in all the cracks. As it gets wet, it just creates a bind. You want a bit of overhang, which I'm missing a little bit of here, but there we go. There's a functional pie crust for you. Does it look pretty? No, but I never said it would. I always said, hey, I'm not the fancy cook. I'm just the cook. So there we have it. There's a pie crust. We're going to do the same thing for the top. Hopefully get it a bit smoother. And then we will fill it and bake it as per the recipe directions. If you have any questions, feel free to ask, and we'll get right back to you. Thanks so much for joining this part of the video on how to make a pie crust. If things go well, it'll look a bit better than this, but that's okay. Thank you. Talk to you soon. This has been Shawn, Saucy Shawn, for Pie Day.